right, next one is Jimmy. Describe how Terry's perfect day would look like if he had a day off. Perfect day. Doing nothing or Disney, family day, watch a game, eat. Okay. Well, I think that's the first one that's like,
Well, the Disney would be the family thing that he would do because he loves. If he has time off, Disney's his happy place where he
That's not
goes, and it's
Disney's
always
not
with his
closest, but
family.
there's only two places on earth I think where everybody gets on the same page. You can go to. I've never seen a fight at Disney, although I'm sure there's been fights at
I'm sure nowadays it is.
Disney. But Disney and Las Vegas are the two places on earth where people of all different races, color, creeds, religious beliefs all stand around and root together for the same thing or come for the same purpose. And there's only two places I've ever experienced that feeling: on the crap tables. Like if I'm in Vegas, everybody's trying to get the money. So it could be the most bigoted person in the world. He's going to call me, yeah, brother, throw those dice. Now he's on my team for that 2 minutes. And when we go to Disney, everybody's just there just hanging out with the mouse or the rat, whatever you call it. So we're out there hanging out with the mouse, and we're waiting in line, and we're doing what we do and enjoying the process, and Disney is kind of a freeing place as the kid in me gets to come out. And so I'm as excited as my children. A lot of times writing a song, that's the place where I realize things that I couldn't quite get before because everything lives in such a serious state. At Disney, it kind of frees that state to be childlike. So, it's a small world. Okay, cool. I'm in that world. So
that brings us kind of back to that playing and like exploring, and just allowing yourself sometimes to like give that child in us some space, because that's a lot of, I think,
Absolutely.
where our creativity is coming from. So really beautiful. I love that. I think I've never actually been to Disneyland. I think I need to go. That sounds really good. Terry, who are Jimmy's biggest musical influences? Name 3.
Man, I'm even having to. This is the answer for myself. I can't even figure this out. So I know Terry's.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely a difficult question. I feel like because so many things can influence us musically, and for you, and
even days. Like I can on a certain day I'll hear something and I'll realize, oh my God, I can't believe how much that actually influenced me. Maybe something I'd forgotten about or something I heard the other day and I can't remember what it was. But I was just like, oh my God, yeah, I totally wrote a song just like this the other day.
Okay, Gamble and Huff. Yes, we have one match, his dad. And then you said Chicago and Holland.
Chicago. Yeah.
Wow. Well,
Chicago should be where James Brown is. He's actually right on that. I couldn't think of it. But yes, Holland Dozier, Holland, and Gamble and Huff. Those were the two, right?
Those
were the two I had.
I put them together as one.
I love it.
Okay, yeah, I got you.
Love
producer songwriters.
Yes.
Yeah. And you know what's so cool about this right now is that the title of the game is I Know You Better Than Yourself. And you just said, he put down Chicago, and that's what you should have put. So I love
Chicago is exactly what I should have put.
And I had to put your dad because he started you on this journey.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I did think of that also.
That's one that you tend to take for granted because it was always there, but that's probably the first because none of the other things happen in the dominoes falling unless the first domino falls. So that's why I had to put Pops first.
I agree.
I love that. Do you want to elaborate a little bit on how your dad did influence you musically?
Well, I just grew up in a musical household. There was always instruments around. He's a keyboard player, piano player. So there was always keyboards around the house. But when I was young, I was always beating on stuff. So I got a drum set. And I loved playing the drums. And later on, when I turned 12, I actually joined my dad's band because he never could keep a drummer. and I knew all of his songs. So um, the guitar player in the band said one day, "You should just let your son play." And so I was like, "Okay, cool." And I ended up playing. And when I met Terry, I was actually on the weekends playing with my dad's band. And we went out, and the first time Terry and I played together as musicians, we went out and stole my dad's keyboard from the club. We were going to play it on the weekend, and we did a little gig for the summer school program we were in. And you know, and Terry was the one that said, "You should be a keyboard player." And I was like, "Really?" And he said, "Yeah." He said, "Your dad plays keyboards, so you should be a keyboard player." He said, "And I already got a drummer." So it was like, okay. So that was the reason I even started playing keyboards. But I kind of grew up, in a musical household. The musical talent definitely came from my dad. The love of music in general probably came from my mom, who always was playing songs on the her stereo all day.
Mhm.
Um, and I think that even the drive, though, and ambition to do it came, really from my dad, because he never got a chance in life to really kind of rise to the level I think he wanted to, because he had me as a kid. And
Mhm.
it made me like never want to have kids and never want to get married. Like for the longest time, I wasn't going to do either of those things because I didn't want it to be in the way of the music, because I always felt like I got in the way of his musical
Yeah.
dreams. But I had a lot of support along the way, obviously from Terry, also from my mom, in kind of realizing my dream. And I was telling somebody the other day, my mom, basically my graduation, I guess, happened on the Grammy stage because my mom was my date that night when we won our first Grammy for Producer of the Year, and she was my date, and that was walking across that Grammy stage that night was almost like my graduation,
Mm.
and so it was cool. So, but
That's
yeah, my dad definitely was the foundation of all of it.
That's really beautiful how parents can influence you in that way and kind of, guide you towards something, even if they haven't been able to do this, for
Right.
themselves. So
Mhm.
that's really beautiful. Do you, both of you, maybe it's a question for both of you, because I feel like you have such an in-depth understanding of music, and now you're saying you grew up in a musical household. Do you remember your first like music induced childhood memory and the moment you just like maybe your dad or your mom played a song and you're just like, I love this and this is what I want to do?
I just remember watching. Well, I remember TV. I remember we got our first color TV. I was probably 3 years old. I think it was probably 62 or something like that. And I just remember watching whatever the shows were. I don't know, there was Ed Sullivan or whatever it was. And I remember watching, and I remember standing in front of the TV as I'm watching it, and I'm literally like beating the top of the TV as I'm hearing the music. Um, and the earliest records I remember, though, that my mom played was probably the Nat King Cole Christmas album, which is my favorite Christmas album because that was, it's a classic. And then she also had this album, Ray Charles. It was a country western album. It was Ray Charles plays country western, and I remember that was like the two albums in my earliest memory of stuff that were played as albums. There was some singles that she played also, but those as far as albums, those are the ones I remember.
What you go through,